I can still hear the exact way her voice sounded when she said it. Casual, dismissive, almost like a dare. If you can't handle me spending weekends with my ex-husband, then maybe we don't belong together. It wasn't conversation. It was a command. A line meant to silence me, to force me to swallow my doubts and stay in my lane. I didn't fight back. I didn't raise my voice. I just looked at her, smiled, and said, "You're absolutely right." She thought she'd won in that moment. What she didn't realize was that my silence had already declared a war she couldn't see. I married her because I believed in us. I believe in the life we were writing together. The balcony dinners, her resting her head on my chest, the whispered promises spoken only in the dark. For years, I turned down promotions, transfers, and opportunities because she wanted me here. She said she needed stability, routine, us, and I convinced myself that sacrifice was proof of love. But the first time I saw her phone light up with his name at midnight, something inside me broke. She brushed it off. "We're just friends." You know how co-parents are. Yet the way she laughed when texting him was different, lighter, freer, as though I was the outsider in my own home. Love doesn't disappear all at once. It bleeds out slowly, cut by cut, until you're too wounded to realize how much you've already lost. The lies showed up in the smallest details. Her perfume replaced by a man's cologne clinging to her blouse. Her phone flipped screen down and locked with code she never used before, errands that stretched into hours. The truth hit me when I followed her. I parked across from his apartment and watched her walk in with groceries, a bottle of wine, and a laugh that floated into the night. 2 hours later, the lights went out, the curtains drawn. I didn't need to see anything more. My trust was already dead. Pain hardened into clarity, and clarity turned into calculation. Revenge doesn't burn in fury. It waits in silence. So I stopped confronting her. I stopped asking questions. I stopped caring. At least, that's how it looked. She relaxed, thinking she convinced me, thinking I was blind or worse, obedient. Meanwhile, I was preparing my escape. The promotion I had declined twice, the transfer to London. I accepted it quietly. A higher salary, housing, a relocation package. No announcement, no celebration, just signatures on paper. Then I began stripping my presence from her world. Moved my money, closed our joint accounts, redirected my paycheck, erased my digital footprint. Piece by piece, I vanished from her life while she stayed distracted with him. The night before I left, I kissed her forehead and whispered, "I'll see you this weekend." She smiled, relieved, believing the storm had passed. That was my final lie. The next morning, I boarded my flight. Window seat, champagne in hand, as the ground disappeared beneath me. When I landed in Heathrow, I took a selfie, smiling, luggage at my side, the airport sign glowing behind me. I sent it in reply to her text. "What are you doing this weekend?" An hour later, she finally answered. "What do you mean you're in London?" Panic dripping between every word. I didn't reply. My silence was sharper than any explanation. By the time she realized, everything was already gone. The lease terminated, furniture sold, utilities canceled. She returned home to an echo, an empty space where our life had been. The joint savings account closed, her access revoked months earlier, my earnings secure in places she couldn't touch. I left her the bed, the couch, and the memories she thought she was protecting with her lies. Her ex-husband inherited the rest. Her mess, her bills, her loneliness, her broken trust. I didn't have to expose her. People like her self-destruct without help. I just stepped out of the blast zone. Weeks later, she reached out. Long emails filled with excuses, apologies disguised as explanations, claims of confusion, declarations of love. She remembered what we had only when it was already too late. To her, it was desperation. To me, it was noise. I answered once, with a single line. "You were right. We shouldn't be together." No anger, no details, just the truth she'd handed me that night, returned her sharpened by reality. In London, I built a new life. Not a rebound, not an escape. Freedom. And sometimes I think back to that moment, to her face when I agreed with her ultimatum. She thought she had me cornered, but all she really did was open the door. Revenge isn't always fire and fury. Sometimes it's colder, quieter. It's walking away without looking back while they choke on the silence you leave behind. So when people ask why I left, why I moved so suddenly, I smile. Because the truth doesn't taste bitter anymore. It tastes like victory.